If you're just feeling frumpy and like you don't know what you want to do in your life, you're feeling stuck, you're feeling stagnant, you're feeling like, what's the point of all this? I want to share with you some really cool keys that I found to create meaning in your life, such that that kind of frumpy effect that happens sometimes, you'll be able to activate these certain, let's call them keys or insights, and implement them into your life such that you're going to feel a whole of a hell lot better. All right. So here's the first thing. I'll show it with a quick story. I had a desire for things to be a lot better when I was younger. This is a long time ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, before I started a transformational and spiritual path. I'm a celibate monk now. And what I learned was that the inside state of myself creates the external experience. So I had heard that at many different times in different spiritual books and different teachers and things like that, but I didn't really believe it. But one thing that I realized through the amount of suffering that I was going through at that time in my life is that that suffering created a very strong desire and a will to act. And those are the two things that you need in order to create meaning and to break through that frumpy kind of stuck feeling in yourself, right? So for me, I had a desire and I had a will to act, but then I would start to do different things in my life, and I kept my experience of my life, meaning the lack of meaning in my life, I kept that limited and small and the same as it was, which is very unfulfilling, because of the limited beliefs that I had about people and myself. For example, I didn't think that feeling happy was something that would have me feel happy. Now that sounds maybe a little bit strange to you, but if it was 32-year-old Jivan Das or Jonathan, then it would make perfect sense, because I had this subconscious belief that suffering is where happiness comes from. Actually, not happiness, but like fulfillment comes from. And that in fact, I had to struggle and had to suffer in a way in order to feel fulfilled. There was like this friction that had to be present in life in order for me to feel like something good or productive was happening. Now, what's interesting about this, and this is maybe for myself, and you can take this and apply this to your own life in some ways, is that I had resistance in my life. That friction that I talked about, that was this resistance that I had in my life, meaning I was defensive to feedback. I wanted certain things in my life, but I wasn't willing to be humble enough or hear the feedback enough in order to become the person that got those things in my life, meaning I wanted to make more money. I wanted to be more successful in my career. I wanted to have better friends. I wanted to fall in love and have a romantic partner at that time, right? So there were all but this resistance in my life stopped me from getting those things because I clung to these beliefs about life. One of them was that you had to struggle. I had to struggle in order to be successful, or I had to struggle in order to be fulfilled, right? And that's just one of them. So we all have these. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to actually look for what your beliefs are. All you have to do are those two things that I talked about. One, create a desire or a suite of desires. And then two, create the will to act. Now, here's what will happen if you become very clear about the intent or the desire that you have. You've got to be clear about it, right? And you actually can create a desire to create a desire, right? That's kind of a cool one. If you don't have a desire or you don't know what you want to desire, choose something. Or if you're not sure, choose a number of things. Because here's the beautiful thing about how life functions, is that when we create a desire, and the more clear that we are, picture our clarity or our desire as like a light, which it is actually. And the more focused and clear we become, the light becomes a laser in this metaphor. And lasers are very intense and can travel long distances because they're so intent. Thank you, University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, for that physics knowledge that I spent. That probably cost me about $5,000. I have degrees in math and physics I never use. That's what that was about. Anyway, the more that we can create clarity from our desires, the more focused, the more intent they will be. And here's the thing about life that I was about to say, is that the more clear that we can be, and as soon as we have a desire, life will bring us ideas, circumstances, and relationships that will provoke that desire and support that desire. Now, It may not look that way to you. Now, if you have a desire, let's say you create a desire to, let's just say, have a lover, right? Or have a romantic partner that you just love, or create more money. Use those two. Those are pretty common. And you're clear about that. I want to earn $1 million this year. Maybe start with $100,000. See what your belief system can handle. Side note, if you say I want to create or I want to earn $1 million this year and it doesn't inspire you, it actually contracts you, don't use that one. Use like $100,000. Or if you're like, I want to find the lover of my dreams and the romantic partner that creates more fulfillment, passion, and togetherness and intimacy than I've ever experienced myself. If you get contracted like that, like it's not possible, don't do that one. Just create a great boyfriend or a great girlfriend or a great partner, right? Whatever it is. So create a desire that's within your, we could say, comfort zone that has you feel good about it, right? All right, so you have desire, a lover, or money, right? Those are fine. Those are great. We'll grow into those. As soon as you do that, notice what happens to you from the outside world. Because if there are things that happen to you that are not pleasurable, that are uncomfortable, that are triggering, then that is a sign of a limited belief system. I'll give you an example for myself, which I like to do. I had this desire, again, I'm going to rewind a bit here. I had this desire to feel good. Now, all these things came to me that I felt very triggered about, right? I met people that were very triggering. What was interesting now that I look back on that, they were people that were really open and they were very free. And I got really triggered by that because the kind of person that I was and the place that I was in. I started getting injured through my high performance rock climbing and mountain athletics, where I would run into the wilderness and up and around mountains and go skiing and all this stuff. I get pretty consistently injured, right? What was that telling me? Relax, allow, right? And it started to unearth the belief system I had that struggle was a pathway to fulfillment, which it isn't. It can be, because we can create fulfillment in anything. Honestly, that's the amazing part about our human consciousness, is that we get to create fulfillment and can create fulfillment from anything, but it doesn't have to be. And ultimately, having struggle lead to fulfillment is a really limited way to walk through the world, in my opinion. And it was for me anyway. So all you need, again, is desire and action, and then that will take an openness to look at what is happening in your life. And if you're having an unpleasant experience of it, look at what the limited belief is there. You've got this, and all my best.